In Abbey Shores, where shadows play, the alley whispers night and day. In Abomination, alley's grip, where fear and danger tightly knit. Oh, the alley breathes a tale untold of secrets dark and hearts grown cold. Abbey streets, they'll pull you in to the depths where sin begins.
Hello and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, and this year that means we will be playing Abomination Alley, our BRP actual play. We are back. No, I was actually ready this time. I was just debating between the BRP abbreviation or the Chaosium's basic role-playing, which is, more drawn out. But anybody that knows what the game is knows it is BRP. And what is Abomination Alley? Because BRP is a generic system. So Abomination Alley is urban fantasy in the Roaring '20s. We're going to be in beautiful Abbey Shores on the coast of Lake Superior. It's not a real city. Don't travel looking for it. If you want to look at the area it's in, look up Little Girls Point Park. It's in Michigan, right on the Wisconsin border. The year will be 1924 for tonight, as we'll be starting off on New Year's Eve. And I will be your storyteller for the evening, Jason. And with me as usual will be Sarah, playing Vivian. Eric, playing Michael. Patrick, playing Leo. Jeremy, playing Salvador. And Carr, playing Teak. And we open at a party. It's kind of a neighborhood-wide party. I guess it'd be more of a celebration. It is New Year's Eve. By this point, it's around 11:30. So the party is really going. You're in an area of the city known as Windburn. Well, yeah, if you're staying outside, probably.
No, tech problems.
No, that was just me unmuting you. That was not a tech problem. That was a me problem. I always keep y'all muted until I'm done with my little intro, because sometimes y'all are talking when it clicks on.
You gotta have at least one in the ear. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I respect that.
Gee, thanks.
If we're not talking, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So if you look on your map, Windburn is number 6 down here.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the shore.
Well, it also stretches across the road over here.
It's heckin' windy then.
It's Wimby!
Yeah. Y'all are, the bulk of the party is along a street called Apple Lane, which in the early days of the city was the kind of the center point of strange folk culture. For anybody not already familiar, which would be, anybody not the players, a strange folk is a polite term for any non-humans. Elves, kobolds, dwarves, all that. So Apple Lane was like the original Abomination Alley of the city, before the strange folk population got so large that there's a few of you about everywhere. some of the there's some of the like super high end neighborhoods are a little more exclusive, shall we say? You know, when you get up into this northern part of Windburn, that's kind of where the rich and snooty strange folk live. Y'all are down here somewhere. Apple Lane is pretty middle of the road. New Year's, very big celebration for the strange folk. As it was New Year's Day when they, when their ancestors arrived on Earth in the year 1000. History went pretty much normally up until then, and then basically all around the Mediterranean, all this weird stuff appeared. According to them, they were fleeing the destruction of their world by forces they refer to merely as chaos. Modern strange folk refer to it as either the other world or the forgotten world. Because when they arrived, their memories had been largely stripped of details about their world. They couldn't remember. They could remember worshiping gods, but they couldn't remember the gods' names. They could not remember the names of their own species. So the fact that some of the characters are called elves, that's pretty much just a name they picked up from humans. And much of history went the same. A lot of history changed. That will come up as it's relevant. Important things to know is it's 1924 on the verge of 1925. The First World War happened. All the warning signs that the Second World War might be coming, the early warning signs are probably there. But that's not something people in the U.S. are really paying attention to. They're still the common man is still pretty bitter about getting drug into that European crap with the First War. But that's not important. What is important is you're here to party. I'm going to go around. I'm going to call on each of you. Please give your character's name, even though we already just named him, and tell us just a little bit about your character. We will start with Teak.
Oh boy.
No pressure. We're going in height
Teak,
order.
I know, right? Teak is the shortest. Once
Last.
again, apparently I like playing short characters. I don't know. He is a kobold.
Just getting smaller.
And kobolds in this world are like dog-like creatures, not like the D&D kobold, right? Lizards. If
They
I
are
remember correctly.
reptiles, but their faces are much more dog-like.
Hmm.
And they have that sort of yipping. Their native language is very yipping sounding.
Yeah.
So very old school D&D kobold.
Teak is bundled for warmth at the moment. Normally he's better off in the engines of cars because he's a mechanic, but Teak is at this moment looks like the child from A Christmas Story because it's cold.
All right. Eric, who are you playing?
Well, I'm playing Michael. I believe the only human of this bunch.
Yes.
I believe that's correct.
Alleged human.
Yeah, I believe I'm the only human. He's a lawyer who kind of got dragged to this party by his secretary. He's dressed warmly, but not as much as would be normal. Like he's just like kind of been. Yes, thank you, Jason. He's basically just dressed in a suit and like a long coat, so still warm, but not like. But it's noticeable. Like, how are you not cold?
All right. Sarah.
I am playing Vivian, Rosenberg. She is an elf, singer, information hoarder, a little bit of both. She is dressed for fashion. She is dressed for class. She is freezing her
She's
ass off.
suffering.
She is suffering for that. But she is having a grand old time because this is pretty much her element.
Excellent. Let me go back and ask each of you one question.
Yes.
Carr,
Mhm.
how long has Teak lived in the city?
In this city,
Yes.
age-wise, he is 23, and he's probably been here majority of his life.
Okay. So
In the
he's
machine.
he's a native. He's a native.
Yeah, he's a native to this area.
All right. Eric, what about Michael?
Roughly somewhere between 10 to 15 years.
Okay. So he moved here from somewhere else.
He is originally from Chicago.
Oh, so still Michigan.
Yeah.
He didn't skip states or anything. Sarah.
All of her life up until about 5 years ago, and then she was briefly away, and then came back within the last about 6 months.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, tell us about Salvador.
Oh, you actually did go in height order. Salvador is an elf. He's right now he is wearing a nice like black and white pinstripe suit. He has a nice black overcoat. He's got one of those coats that like has a chain that connects the collar.
Oh,
So
nice.
he's kind of wearing that one of those situations. He's not like fully caned out and everything. But he's got that to keep himself warm. He may have a scarf. It's really hard to see in all of his hair. And he is probably the most recent addition. He has been I think he's been in Abbey Shores for like a month and a half at most. He is from Providence, Rhode Island. So he is not from around here.
I cannot
And he's
tell you
currently
how
eating an Abba
I cannot tell you how much it hurts me that you're not going to do the Rhode Island accent.
I cannot do it. I cannot do it without being reductive. But I want you to know, every time I speak as this character, you need to picture Peter Griffin.
I'd rather not.
But yeah, he's just walking around and like kind of people watching and eating an Abba Zaba.
Are we talking like post chiropractor Peter Griffin where his spine got elongated a solid like 6 inches or
No, we're talking Fortnite Peter Griffin just to piss you off even more.
oh, so just swollen hurling lightning bolts. Got it.
All right, and Patrick,
know
tell us
that
a little bit about Leo.
Okay, Leopold Grek Mundragon is originally from, I would love to say along the Mississippi, but you're talking more along the lines of, essentially, his family kind of bounced up the Mississippi, going to like from one industry town to the other. We ended up hitting Detroit, then the war started. He was in Chicago for a bit, and for the last 5 years, he's been at Abbey Shores.
All right. And if I recall correctly, Leo and Salvador are Great War veterans.
We are
Correct.
Great War veterans, yes. Salvador was a rifleman.
And Leo, due to his, was originally meant to be carrying around the machine gun, but because of his size, ended up becoming more in the medical staff and hauling around people on stretchers.
Right. And I know...
Thus-
I know Carr and Eric mentioned their species.
Mhm.
Sarah, did you
Oh.
mention Vivian?
Yeah, I think I did, and Jacka did, and Patrick did.
Okay.
Elf, and orc, I believe.
Right.
Yep.
There's a lot of elves in this game.
Terrible racist elves.
Hey.
All right. So, yes, you are all at the party. Completely up to y'all whether any of you have met each other before or not.
I'm probably passingly aware of most people. Leovold notwithstanding, having served with him.
That's true. We know for sure Salvador and Leo know each other at least in passing. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, some of you
I
might
don't know.
recognize Vivian since she is a performer.
Mhm.
If you're the sorts that frequent clubs.
I don't know if anyone would know Teak.
Eric's got a car.
Yeah, but he's usually the one working on it, not the one saying, "Here, your car's done."
That's fair. That's fair. So you're saying Teak doesn't own a mechanic shop? He works at a mechanic
No,
shop.
he works at a mechanic shop.
Okay.
I'm not sure how well you all would know Michael. He's a fairly successful lawyer.
Unless you needed someone sued.
Now, keep in mind, this is the 1920s. Lawyers did not advertise the way they did
Yeah.
today.
Yeah,
That was just unthinkable.
877.
Might have even been
Yeah.
illegal, I'm not sure.
I mean that's why I said I don't know if y'all would know him because when I was sort
Call
of
me
putting,
Abomination Alley.
when I was sort of putting him together, he's very much I do not talk about anything work related while I'm on a case, like client privilege.
Yeah.
Abs-
But being a successful lawyer, they would probably know your name
yeah.
if they, wouldn't know you necessarily
Mhm.
to look at you.
I suppose it might also be how talkative Dorothy is feeling.
Dorothy is very talkative. And she's got
Those
a
of you
little bit of a wide-eyed tourist sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Not that she's particularly new to the city, but this is like the thickest concentration of strange folks she's been around.
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds like Dorothy wanted to check it out, and she dragged Michael.
That's exactly what happened, actually.
Dorothy's probably like, look, you've been there before.
And it's completely up to you, Eric, whether she intentionally drug you here or whether she was just talking about the fact that she was coming so much that that Michael decided I better tag along.
Probably a mix of both. Michael very much he prefers. Well, I'll let y'all figure that out. The more you know him. But yeah, he was probably half drug, half talked to enough before he decided I gotta keep an eye on her.
Take the business cards.
Business cards would probably be something lawyers would do.
Yeah.
Because you do want to drum up business.
Cards.
He keeps a few on him. Dorothy probably keeps more, but
And you have overheard Dorothy talking about who she works for. She's not throwing it into every conversation, but she's just going around chit chatting with people. She is more of a social animal. Michael's got the skills for it, but not necessarily the inclination.
correct. Get him in a courtroom, and you see a whole different beast.
I'm a simple country lawyer.
Now the way the parties are going, like I said, you're on Apple Lane, which is this rather large street. Well, no, excuse me, it's not the large street. It's that one that kind of cuts through the middle there between the two large streets. It used to be a bigger, comparatively a bigger road in town, but the city's main street has been getting expanded over the past year because they are expecting U.S. Route 2 to come through here. As the route connects the East Coast to Seattle.
Then
Do something with this headset.
Just take the hat off. Just
I'll say you might have to
I will
ditch
not
the
take
hat.
the hat off.
Oh, okay.
I will get
is
a
the
hook.
hat the shirt of this?
I will get the hook to hold it to the hat. That's what I will do. I'm in the shirt too. I almost got a tie. I almost grabbed a suit coat. But then I
A little
realized
clip-on tie.
it's not going to be this cold forever, so I probably don't want to start wearing a suit coat.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I have suspenders over there.
Oh, jeez.
I have a zip-up tie. It's a big
I
loop, and then you zip it.
I know from whenever Halloween kicks out, I'm gonna grab one of my suits and just put it on for the game.
Nice.
It's gonna happen.
Uh,
But yes, down the lane.
uh, so yeah, this is kind of a pub crawl style thing. As I mentioned, community centers, restaurants, some stores have like cleared an open area.
Too cold to be doing this outside.
Basically. But everybody can be moving around as much as they want to, so you can go visit with a bunch of different people, There is not a large police presence, but you kind of have volunteers of the neighborhood that are just keeping an eye out to make sure,
The drunks don't get too rowdy.
Yeah, the drunks don't get too rowdy, no pickpockets, that sort of thing.
Or if they're drinking.
Well,
Prohibition.
Despite Prohibition, there is a lot of drinking going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as there typically was.
I think it made it worse.
Almost everywhere you go, there's at least one or two dwarves, most likely from the Dwarven Brewing Guild, which is technically an organized crime group, but they don't do racketeering. They don't do much of anything other than bootlegging and running speakeasies.
Innocent crime.
Innocent-ish.
It's a victimless crime.
It
No one's
literally
making you drink.
It literally started off as them being so offended by Prohibition. And then later on, they realized, oh, wait, we can also make a lot of money doing this. We were just going to do it for ourselves and our buddies, but we can make a lot of money doing this. Oh, the Italians tried to screw us over, so we're not working with them. Who's the other major mob in town? The Orcs. No, we'll just do our own thing.
Don't break that pasta.
I've been watching a lot
Sorry.
of Lion Field, so
Guess what? What?
That's what started it all.
the dwarves broke the pasta.
Oh, you dwarves are a contentious people. You just made an enemy for life.
Fetch the Book of Grudges. All Italians ever.
Yeah.
I mean, when it
I
comes to
wanna say, what
booze,
is it,
I don't
like-
know the sillier things.
Because I want to say it's it's Porsche or Lamborghini started because Ferrari screwed them over.
But so anyway, the partying's going on. Vivian, how long did you say, or Sarah, how long did you say Vivian had been back in town?
Around about 6 months.
Okay, so this is the first New Year that she's been back in town.
Yeah. She's not running that much in her old circle of group, like people, for reasons.
That will undoubtedly come up later.
I gave you those knives to stab me with later.
Yeah. And I will. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, I also handed knives.
Mhm.
We're both like, here, have knives.
People, give your GM some knives. It's great.
It is.
But so y'all been moving around. In Michael's case, Dorothy's been dragging him from place to place to place.
He
Yo,
does not drink, but I still imagine someone spiked a drink.
Quite possibly, Teak grabbed some perfectly innocent punch that happened to have a little hooch poured in it.
This isn't water, this is vodka.
I mean,
Spicy
as they're
water.
walking around, like Michael, he is nursing basically like a cup glass, whatever it is, of punch as they're walking along. Occasionally pulling out his pocket watch and checking the time, and then putting it back.
I think Salvador started early, but it got really cold really fast. So he's like, nah. This doesn't actually make you warmer. It drains the heat from you. I learned that the hard way in Munich.
Somewhere
Vivian is
somewhere
probably
else in the
holed up
neighborhood, Leo shivers at the mere mention of Munich. A shiver runs down his spine. Of all the frostbite they had to deal with.
Yeah.
But you eventually wind up, all of you wind up in this kind of civic center, or not civic center, but community center kind of area.
Amphitheater.
You know, maybe it might even be more of a like almost like a community theater. Might be what it's used for more than anything.
Mhm.
Because there's a little stage, but it's not anything fancy. Though you do have some amateur acts performing. Salvador, when you get in there, you see your landlady flittering about.
Interesting.
Uh,
Just tip my hat and nod.
She waves at you. Miss
I
Myrtle
love her
Penrose.
so much.
She's great.
Ma'am?
Middle-aged, slightly overweight fairy woman.
Myrtle.
Or sprite, the words get used interchangeably. She's talking to a young lady in a hat. And they're talking, and the lady says something and gestures to a guy in a long coat over against the wall. And you see Myrtle kind of look, not like just obviously, but kind of,
Kind of like go where their eyes are going.
you see a guy.
Significantly more surreptitiously.
It's a human like the young lady in the hat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's over it. He's drinking punch. And having humans wander around at these parties is not unusual.
Uh-huh.
They are outnumbered in this part of town, but
I will note, assuming you're talking about Michael,
I
that
am.
he's seeing. Under his right eye, there's a very prominent scar that kind of goes across the orbital bone.
Mhm.
Like it's very noticeable, even from a distance.
yeah, he looks like he took a nasty cut at some point.
Me too. Just Salvador quietly to himself. Me too, buddy.
Let's see.
But I would have like greeted Myrtle if she was receptive to it. Probably gotten her a drink.
Oh yeah, she thanks you.
That-
As you, and it's real pleasant interaction. She introduces, introduces the young lady she's talking to. This is Dorothy. She's never been to one. She's never been to one of these celebrations before.
Yeah, this is my first. This is my first time, at least here. They have something similar where I'm from.
Oh yeah. And Dorothy asks you where you're from. She can't quite place your accent.
Providence.
Oh, Rhode Island. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Nothing. It's actually weird for me to be around so many kin. I guess is what I'll say.
Oh, well, that must be nice.
It is. It's nice to have a little community. You said your name was
Yeah.
Dorothy?
Yes, Dorothy McAllister.
Dorothy McAllister.
Dorky.
Salvador. No. Shake their hand. I'll do the kiss the top of the wrist.
I think it's a big
Michael
smile.
from the spot on the wall just brow raises.
She really likes your hair. She's complimenting you on your hair.
Thank you. It's very genetic. My father had long hair. His father had long hair, and so on and so forth. It's kind of. allowing her to like be entertained by a strange folk who wants to talk.
And she
Kind of
very
a vibe.
clearly is.
Yes.
You know, she seems like she's not going to say anything wouldn't say anything offensive on purpose,
Mm.
but she might be oblivious to how some things she said could be taken.
Yeah.
If that makes any kind of sense.
Pretends it doesn't. It's like water off a duck's back.
Because she is very enthusiastic about meeting all of you.
All of us.
You know, well, you know, everybody she's been meeting at the parties.
Mm.
You know, she mentions that she works at a law firm. You know, they get some of everybody in there.
Yeah. At this point, he'll come over and is like, well, are you enjoying yourself?
Oh wait, this is Salvador. You should try growing your hair out like this.
How long is Salvador's hair?
Salvador's hair is longer than mine. It goes
Oh, okay.
to like the
Flowing.
middle of his back.
Middle of his back.
Jesus.
And this
Got
is
that
the
Fabio
19
hair.
and this is the 1920s.
Yeah.
That is unheard of.
Yeah, Michael's is actually, it's not that long, but like if he actually lets it down from the tail he keeps it up in, it's like a little past his shoulders.
That would get you a lot of comments.
Hmm.
That eccentric line.
Cut your hair, hippie.
Hippies haven't been invented yet. Beatniks haven't even been invented yet.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Pre-hippie.
Beatniks are like 30 years off.
Get out of here, you
With the
flapper.
present his hand, sorry, to shake.
He'll shake it. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Salvador. I'm Michael.
Michael,
Yes. Well, he'll
nice to meet you.
pull out a card and hand it over. It's Michael Anderson.
Attorney
Attorney
at
at law.
law.
Correct. yes.
Attorney at law.
That'll be that might be good to know.
I'll take the
Put it in the breast
case.
pocket. Never hurts to know a lawyer.
Never does. Well, another one of these parties is on the way. Think anything interesting is going to be happening to this one?
God, I hope not. I saw my landlady. That's the most entertainment I want.
The landlady who's still standing there, or still, you know, floating there, turns and looks at you.
Now I imagine
Your
that
rent
the
is
roller
going
pin-
up.
I
I just
wasn't
imagine
going.
that the rolling
Salvador-
pin.
Salvador's turning beet red.
Well,
just
I
imagine
wasn't going to
the
mention
rolling
this is a party, but don't forget, rent is due on the 1st.
I know. I'm good. He actually literally goes into his wallet and like.
No,
pulls
not at a
up.
party.
You just said it's due. If you're
Due
gonna
on the
be about it, then you're gonna be about it.
Now she's blushing.
It's a nice
Why do
wallet
I-
with like a chain attached to the pant loop.
Why do I get the feeling at some point I'm going to be seeing the two of you in my office?
I don't know what that means.
I've had people come into my office for less.
Oh, that must be hard to deal with. Which
Sometimes.
causes Dorothy to launch into a story about this one particularly aggravating guy. And she's not talking about
Down.
anything about his actual case, just her dealing with him in the waiting room
Mm-hmm.
and what an
The
unpleasant person he was.
secretarial conversations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Salvador will like go really close up to her and go, "He does not pay you enough."
I know.
Well, then I challenge you to find another lawyer that pays you more than I do.
Well, the hours are very flexible. Leo, as you're walking in, you immediately spot Salvador. Just as, oh, here's somebody I actually know.
Yeah.
Just that long hair and the braid in the middle is like, oh, that's a dead giveaway.
Okay.
Uh,
Sal, I didn't know you moved into the area.
Leo turns. I think without realizing it, we do the predator handshake, like you son of a bitch. Ugh.
well, maybe not that kind of language. There are ladies present.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
the emotion behind it.
Mm.
Yeah. There's
You
an energy there.
rapscallion.
I wasn't aware you were here either. Small world. Gang, this is Leo. I served with him in the Great War.
Gentlemen, ladies.
Dorothy's like, oh, you were in the war?
Yeah, I was a rifleman.
And Patrick, you notice she's... It's like she makes eye contact with you, but then she kind of quickly looks away. Like she's a little more nervous around you than maybe around some of the rest of the folks. It's not a big thing, but you've certainly had worse reactions from people.
Yeah.
People running the opposite direction.
Yeah, Michael just nods hello.
Sir.
Sir, so you two served in the
Michael.
war then?
Yes.
Hmm.
Rifleman,
Yep.
medic?
I was originally a machine gunner, but helping the wounded seemed to be a better sort.
I was never much of a fighter myself. However, I did put my own talents to use, raising funds for you all back here at home.
Hey.
So,
Dorothy interrupts, starts talking about the war bonds and the stuff Michael and her brother, all the work she knows Michael and her brother were doing. She wasn't really involved in the business at that point.
I like her.
she's a breath
She's
of
gonna
fresh air
die.
around the office.
Oh, oh no.
Oh, see, if this girl dies, you don't want to know what's gonna happen.
The Great Abbey Shores Fire of 25.
Not outside of the realm of possibility.
It will make the Great Fire of London look like a bonfire.
While you're talking, another fellow approaches. Michael, you know this guy. You've done some work for him.
Hmm. Okay.
Mr. Haggis Barkley.
Is he? I have to ask. Is he humanoid size or is he like teak sized?
He's around that kobold halfling size.
Okay.
That's about how big Barklings are.
Does he
Okay.
speak with a Scottish accent?
No, he sounds like he's from New England. Because he's from New England.
Oh, so fit right in with Salvador.
Yeah.
If
just
you
realized-
follow his line back, eventually, they came over during the potato famine, but
Just also realized that Miss Penrose will be fighting the bonk for anyone who goes to horny jail.
I still, it's in my head, but she's got the rolling pin holstered at her side at all
Oh,
times.
yeah.
not at a
Period.
party. It's
I
when
know,
she,
but
it's when she goes around reminding everybody about rent at the apartment that she's always packing it.
she's always got it in the apartment building somewhere on her.
Jeez.
Oh,
Yeah, she is
something else
small,
would
and some of
see-
her tenants are not small, so she needs an
Something-
equalizer.
Something else Michael would see is like probably as we shake hands, like there's a holster like on the inside of the coat.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just not.
But
Yeah.
so anyway, Mr. Barkley comes up and greets Michael, and
Mr.
Dorothy.
Barkley?
Dorothy lights up when she sees him. Michael, she always has to restrain herself. She's confessed to having to restrain herself from trying to pet him,
Mhm.
which is the last thing you want to do to a barkeep.
Yeah.
They do not take it well.
Yeah. Michael just nods his head and was like, "Good to see you again, Mr. Barkley."
Oh, it's nice to see you in a social situation.
Well, I was dragged here.
He cuts his eyes over to Dorothy. Well, that's probably good for you. All work and no play, you know what they say. Please introduce me to your friends.
Well, it'd be more accurate to say recent acquaintances. However, and he will first gesture to the landlady. This is the lovely Miss Myrtle Penrose.
Ma'am, he takes the cigarette out and kisses her hand.
This is Salvador. I don't believe I got your last name.
Good. Salvador
Fair
with
enough.
Oh, very mysterious.
And this is his friend or acquaintance, war buddy,
you. War buddy.
whatever it
Oh,
is.
Yep.
the two of you were in the war.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is Leo.
Rifleman.
He shakes both
medic.
your hands. Very pleased to meet you.
Very
Ditto.
good, sir.
We were in the 66th.
66th Strange Folk Regiment. Or Strange Folk Volunteers.
Well,
And he purposely,
it's where they put the draft.
and he does the
draftees,
air
too.
quotes. Yeah, and he does the air quotes when he says
Volunteers.
volunteers.
The
Well, it's the
voluntold.
20s. I don't know if they were doing air quotes back then, but
Yeah.
The voluntold.
it might have been volunteers. Eye roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was one of the few that served outside of the 66th, but. If he never sees a trench again, it'll be too,
Way too soon.
It's like he starts to go into war stores and they realize, well, we're at mixed company, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I just having a couple of drinks, and then it got really cold, and I started thinking about Munich, and I was like, nope, no more.
So y'all are standing around talking. Vivian, you're here, and you see this group of people standing around talking. No big deal. There's other groups standing around talking. There's some, this is a big enough area that there's some people up on the stage, using the stage as the dance floor. There's a little jazz ensemble kind of tucked into a corner on the stage.
Anybody she knows?
It's a mostly human band. And yeah, you've seen them around. They don't so much do solo gigs usually. It's kind of a band that hires themselves out to. They'll be like the band for a singer that's on tour that isn't necessarily carrying their own band around. Or like when there's been times when there was talent shows that they would be the band for anybody that showed up to sing that didn't have a band. They're professional musicians, but they're not exactly. It's a side gig for them. They're not exactly trying to make their living doing it.
Okay.
The person you see that catches your attention is a very old elven woman.
Oh dear.
You know her on sight. There's probably not an elf in town that doesn't know Guinevere.
Auntie Jen.
Or
With Salvador?
Genevieve.
As considering he's
Auntie
like a
Jen.
month and a half in.
Salvador would probably be one, yeah. I should say none of them that have lived here for any length of time.
Okay.
Is it a good knowing of Antigen or?
You've seen her around a time or two when you were a child. It's not like you know her real well.
Yeah.
She's just kind of a known figure. She's almost 200. Like she was a child when the Revolutionary War was going on. Or at the time works out for that. Yeah, I think she'd have been a kid. Definitely a kid by elven standards anyway. And she's something of a
Minor celebrity.
spiritual figure.
Ah.
She can contact the spirits. She can read the runes, at least some of them. She's known for giving advice. Mostly only when she's asked, but yeah,
Mostly.
mostly.
Does she have an audience with her at the moment?
At the moment, no. Like, as you've been in here drinking, you've seen people drift by and talk to her for a few minutes and, go on about their way.
Glances at the other group, makes a quick turn, and heads to Auntie Jen.
As you walk up, oh, hello there, dear.
Auntie, darling, how are you doing?
Oh, quite well.
Having a good time? It's not too cold out for you, is it?
The cold is a little rough on these old bones,
I think it's rough on
But-
all of our bones.
but I wouldn't miss the celebration. Who knows how many more of them I'll see.
Oh, I'm sure you'll outlive us all, if by nothing other than reputation.
She's looking at you closely. I can't quite place you, dear, but you do look familiar.
Oh, it's been a while since I've been here.
Did you used to live here, though?
Yes, about 5 years ago. I had some business out of town.
You remind me of someone. I'm going to put you on the spot, Sarah. What is Vivian's mother's name?
I sent it to you. Give me 1 second.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
He was like, shoot, I know I sent it. I want to say,
Was it in what you sent me?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you did see me. Patricia. She's like, and she kind of snaps her fingers. Oh, you remind me of Patricia.
Well, people have said we do look alike.
That's right. That's right. You got married. Or her daughter got married and moved off.
That's what the rumor mill says.
Yes,
And
yes.
as this conversation is going on, both me and Salvador just kind of give each other a side eye back.
That's it.
Well, y'all are in different. This is a fairly large area. Y'all are,
Different sides of the
Okay.
room.
y'all are not. Y'all could potentially, if you're just looking around, you could see this younger elf lady talking to this older elf lady.
Yeah.
I will note, like, when Vivian did come in, Michael's gaze, he basically snapped to her and followed her for a little while.
Yeah, that's why she turns around.
Yeah.
Uh,
And his hand immediately goes into the pocket of his coat and stays there.
She's like, yes, you married that Ryson boy.
Well, things happen, and I'm back in town now.
Oh, well, I'm sure your parents are glad to see you.
Honestly, I haven't had a chance to get by the old house recently. I've just been getting back used to the city.
She kind of what you're thinking. She kind of pauses for a second. Perhaps it's best not to rush things.
I'm sure they know I'm here, and if they ever wish to talk, they have so many resources, I'm sure they would find a way to get in contact with me. But enough about me. How have you been?
Oh, old and nosy.
May we all be old and nosy someday.
Yes. Trust me, child. When you get to that age that people want your advice, enjoy it. When you're young, when you're young, when you're 40, she kind of gestures to you, and give advice, unsolicited advice. You're a nag. When you're my age and you give unsolicited advice, you're a sage.
I hope to live as long and then just give everyone who once asked me for advice in my youth horrible, horrible advice, masked with wisdom.
You're one of those do a poor job so they don't ask you to do the job anymore.
I would do a job selectively. If I like you, I'll give you good advice. If not, well, maybe you should think of other people to ask advice from.
So y'all keep chit chatting. She starts catching you up, on town gossip. She seems to be very well informed about what's been going on in town.
She just listens with rapt attention. Just all.
She does relatively, every now and then she asks you a question. She does kind of subtly probe for information.
She will keep it fairly vague.
So you're doing that. Teak, you arrive.
Do I see Mr. Barkley?
I'm gonna go over and fight him!
You come in, you see, you see Auntie Jen. You live in this town your whole life. You know her on sight.
Yeah.
You know who she is.
Yeah.
You haven't had a whole lot of personal interactions, with her or anything. She's talking to a young elf, or younger elf. Young by comparison, certainly. And you see, you see the cluster. You see Mr. Barkley.
Teak is going to do everything in his power to disappear and stay away from Mr. Barkley.
You start drifting. They're not too far inside the door, so you kind of have to get a little bit closer. You're trying to kind of skirt around to get over to the punch table.
Do I need to roll a stealth? I'll roll a stealth.
Pardon me. Excuse me. Pardon me.
First roll of the game.
You know what? Go ahead and roll me a stealth.
Will be first roll of the game.
I'll be right back.
First roll of the game.
Failure.
Yeah, it's gonna go great for Teak. Do I do the checkbox or no? Is it only on successes?
only
that
It's
it
on
is?
successes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to check.
Okay, so it's not just critical success; it's just regular success.
Right. It's any success.
Wanted-
Any success.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Again,
wanted to
I'm
double check.
going like Call of Cthulhu rules.
Yeah, it varies slightly from game to game.
Gotcha.
I actually got to play Rune Quest in this setting on Sunday. It
Oh.
was actually really interesting. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Rune Quest is one of the more complicated in some ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, what little bit I played it. I've run a one shot of it one time back in the tail end of the '90s. I never could get a group that wanted to play it. But it's one of them that my uncle, the rule set, my uncle had left it at my grandmother's.
Mhm.
So I literally grew up reading through it all the time, and I've never gotten a chance to really play it. That's one reason I'm very excited about this game. Because I'm using a lot of RuneQuest stuff in this. Anyway.
Yeah, I saw the title.
So, Teak.
Yeah, no, I
sneak.
know.
Going to sneak. Just about the time you're thinking, yes, he didn't see me. You hear a very loud, and all you talking to, Barkley. Is the sewers backing? Are the sewers backing up? And then he just turns and stares directly at Teak. Oh no, it's just a sewer worker.
Teak just kind of droops.
That,
Mr.
that
Barkley,
walking bundle.
Oh
of-
no.
Please, we're in polite company.
What? It's a perfectly respectable job.
Yeah.
It is very much a
Appreciate you.
stereotype that kobolds all work in the sewers.
Yep.
Because admittedly, a lot of them did, because it's an unpleasant job. They're one of the least human-looking strange folk. It was somewhere that it was somewhere people were comfortable with them working, and
Sorry, did that bundle of sweaters just walk?
You see him about to take a step, and he just keeps going. He just goes over to the food bar.
I am curious as to how he's going to eat. I don't think he can put his arms down. I gotta get back. Oh, I have a prop cigar. How did I not have my prop cigar over here? Ready for Barkley?
You just
Next
have to roll up
time.
some paper.
Mm-mm.
Next time
Yeah.
you play a hard-boiled detective.
I've got a Sharpie, but that's not the same.
How close is the food bar to? Oh, where Auntie Jen and Vivian are.
She's sitting kind of in the middle of the room, in the middle of a little eating area that they've got set up. So it's kind of like big cluster of people, you and Auntie Jen, and then food over here against the wall. And there's other groups of people sitting around talking, either sitting at tables talking or standing around talking or dancing. And then you've got this bundled up little kobold heading towards the.
Saldor will move towards. He'll just excuse himself and move towards the food bar. Utterly curious about what food stuff is there, partially, and also going to meet with Teak and just look down at him and go, "Hey, you good?" For what it's worth, I don't think you smell.
I appreciate that.
He'll present his hand. Salvador.
He kind of turns, shakes hand. I'm Teak.
Nice to meet you. What are they? Do you need to get up to see what they're serving?
Oh no, I'll be all right.
Okay, I trust you.
He kind of like goes around the corner, takes off the coat, hides it under the table, then comes back around. He's a fairly skinny kobold.
Instantly lost half his body weight.
If I recall right, isn't his strength for a kobold like almost max?
For he's a fairly skinny kobold, but I think
He's
there's
wiry.
muscles under there somewhere.
Lifting engine blocks.
That's
Yeah,
not what I.
He's a
pictured.
Bruce Lee ripped kobold.
you do get a slight like smell of like machine oil, like car engine oil kind of thing.
Yeah. Grease monkey, huh?
Mm. I work on cars. You kind of like I assume there's halflings and stuff. They have some kind of way for
They have
people to get
like
up
step
on. So,
stools. They have step stools.
yeah, so Teak grabs one and just kind of gets up there.
Truthfully, they probably have some tables that are just set lower for you guys.
Yeah,
like a-
so
For the
Maybe-
barkling, for the kobolds, for the halflings, for the
Kind of like how like a
fairies.
picnic table has like the chair. They can walk on the chair.
yeah.
And there are people on the other side that can act as servers, and it's set up buffet style where you can just go get what you want to. But if you needed to reach something, you could call somebody that's back there.
I've not seen you around. Are you new here?
Yeah, I've only been here for a month and a half or so. Kind of just drifted in on the wind.
Well, welcome.
Thanks. Sorry, I can't get over how much I did not expect that out of you.
What?
You're much thinner than I thought you would be. I thought you were going to be a little more mass.
Oh no, I just get cold easy.
Are you cold-blooded?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. Apologies, I didn't know if that was offensive to ask or not.
It's okay. I deal with, and she kind of glances over at Mr. Barkley, that kind of stuff all the time.
What's his deal?
I don't know. He just doesn't like me.
Do I believe him? Or was Teek's
Well,
bigger?
you do know that there's
No.
a certain traditional
beef.
between kobolds and barklings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody necessarily knows exactly where it started.
And it's possible that Teak maybe did something that he doesn't know to Mr. Barkley.
Sure.
Got oil on his shoe or something. I don't know.
Fair enough.
No, Carl. Don't try to excuse the bigot. Well, maybe I did something. No.
Gunned down his wife.
Maybe it was that time when I robbed him in the alley.
It's like,
Maybe it was that time that the Model T exploded.
Look, I ran over his wife. I heard the yelping, but I thought it was just a dog, so I just kept going.
I backed up just to make sure.
I love how we went from I might have just spilled oil on his shoes to murder.
Yep.
No, accidental hit and run.
Well, no, the first one was gunned down his wife. So.
Oh, okay.
In Minecraft.
That could have been self-defense.
In Minecraft.
I was gonna say stole his car and killed his dog, but then that checks out.
That wasn't my dog. That was my son.
Jesus Christ.
I thought
at
Barkley
any
wore
rate-
clothes. He's a nudist.
Oh no.
At any rate, Salvador will smile and just say, "Well, you enjoy the rest of the party then. Be seeing
You
you."
do the same. If you need to know anything, just let me know.
Good to know. Started to like slowly integrate. I think this is about when Salvador has decided, okay, fine, I'm gonna integrate myself in society. And so he's like, now he's starting to get to know people.
Socializing.
But now he
That's
knows
Michael's
a lawyer
thing.
and a person who can get into small spaces. So
Yeah.
that is a success in Salvador's head.
Oh, fair.
Now over at the table with Vivian and Auntie Jean, I'll get it right eventually. I only named the character. I don't know why. I can't say it. Anyway. So you continue to talk. You know, she keeps glancing at the clock. And, you know, it's 11:40 or so at this point. So, you know, it's getting relatively close. And you notice she's playing with something in her hand.
At the strike of midnight, she will not be here.
Are you anxious? I'm sure they'll announce when it's getting close to midnight. We don't have to keep looking. Or we can switch spots so you can see the clock better.
No, that's fine. It's probably nothing I need to worry about. And she stops her, like, fiddling with this little... You realize it's a stone, like a flat stone. And you see it's got a symbol carved in it.
Well, now that you say you need to stop worrying about it, I have to ask what you're worrying about to begin with.
How familiar are you with the old runes? The ones we brought with us from the Forgotten World.
I have a passing knowledge of them, but nothing much more than surface. My parents weren't overly enthusiastic about teaching about it.
And it's recognizing them on sight is not particularly uncommon, but very few people know how to truly read them or use the powers they convey. And she sets the stone down, and having grown up in 20s America, the symbol just looks like a cross to you. Now, if you have any sort of occult knowledge or anything, you can give it a roll to see if you recognize.
Can't remember if I do or not. Let's find out.
Do I overhear any of this?
No, y'all
Or
are
it's
over
just
on the other side of the room.
private
You're still talking.
Okay, just
Yeah.
I have a little. That's why I wanted to ask.
Nope. I got espionage and business.
Okay. Then yeah, it looks like a cross to you.
Business. Oh. Could you explain it to me then? I mean, maybe I might not be familiar with the runes themselves or what they're saying, but talking it through.
They
She
gave me a
glances
bit
around.
of potentially bad news, but I don't know to who the news was necessarily referring.
Oh?
She glances over the clock again. But if it gets past midnight, perhaps I was wrong.
You
And
didn't
almost
give
on cue,
any hints?
the door bursts open, and 5 little kids come running in. Those of you that have been living in the neighborhood for a while, so Teak would probably recognize one or two of them, maybe Vivian. Just local newsboys.
Newsies, gotcha.
Miscellaneous, miscellaneous species. But they bust in, a bunch of people, they make enough noise that a lot of people kind of look at them. But it's not enough like the band stops playing or anything crazy. A couple of adults scowl at, somebody, street urchins. But they start calling for Auntie Jen. And running over that table.
Glances over.
You can see that they're crying.
Yeah,
That's
Any of
And
them are near enough,
they're
she's
all kind of jabbering at her at one
honestly.
time that they found Mickey. Mickey's dead. And you see Jen take a deep breath, let it out. She slides that stone of the rune, and you see her tuck it into a leather bag. That's kind of, she's wearing, she old and it's cold, so she's bundled up. So it's kind of concealed under kind of a jacket at her belt. And it's not a bag that matches it's like an old style leather bag. It's not something that really matches what she's
Had
wearing.
it since childhood kind of thing.
Yeah.
how loud are the children being?
Pretty loud. They're pretty upset. Like, they're not screaming at the top of their lungs, but everybody in the room that's not like right up at the band can make out what they're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked for my own notes because I realized after I made the character, I kind of pigeonholed myself into the note taker this game because my character has an eidetic memory.
Ah.
And
No,
I'm
gotta
terrible
remember
at
that,
taking
buddy.
notes, so
We thank you ahead of time.
Teak will put down like his plate of food that he was making and go over.
all right, anybody that's lived here in town long will be familiar with a man named Mickey Monroe.
Mickey Monroe.
Private detective. And kind of the guy everybody in this part of town would go to if they were in trouble. In strange folk culture, you have something called the Bjorn. I'm trying not to pronounce that like it's Scandinavian. Bjorn, Beorn, which I believe is Old English, which kind of means champion. Over time, it's become kind of known as hero. It's an ideal that got brought over from the other world, or the Forgotten World, of people that would band together in times of trouble. Think an adventuring party.
Yeah.
And in your people's time on Earth, it's become, in a lot of cases, especially in modern day, almost like a neighborhood watch sort of thing. But they're not just picked at random generally. Like Vivian would know this from before she left. That Mickey wasn't alone. He had a group of people, that would come together when there was some kind of emergency, or though when you came back to town, Mickey was about the only one of that group left. One or two had met bad ends, but then some of them had just gotten older and retired out basically, or moved away.
With him being a private detective, did Michael ever have any business with him?
Even or odd?
Even.
I got a 2. Yes.
So did I.
You dealt with him a time or two.
Okay.
Maybe you hired him. Maybe maybe a client came to you after hiring him. You weren't good friends with him. You didn't know him real well or anything. But he seemed to be a decent enough guy. He seemed to be interested in getting to the truth. He didn't do divorce work if he could help it.
Yeah.
You know, if bills are due, bills are due. But yeah. So at this point, the mummering is kind of starting up in the room. You know, everybody's kind of talking about this. It's kind of spreading. Jen is trying to calm the children down.
Mickey's dead? No, I said the washing machine was busted and there's a midget on the corner of the street. I know this grapevine.
No idea what that's from. They're starting to tell her, where they found the body. Jen gets up, she's already sitting there wearing a jacket, but then the back of her chair, she's got a heavier coat, and she starts putting that on.
Vivian will move to help her put it on.
Oh, thank you, dear, thank you.
Would you like me to escort you, or what can I do to help with this?
Can I get a few volunteers? Yes, dear, by all means, please come. But can I get a few other volunteers?
Salvador's already walking up.
Yeah.
He hears dead bodies. Like, all right, this is where I come in.
No. Yep.
Tico raises his hand, trying to make himself taller.
And there's a few others besides y'all. Mr. Barkley immediately volunteers.
Yeah, Michael will turn to Dorothy and he'll hand her his keys and go, "Get yourself home."
I'm assuming car keys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming she's old enough to drive since she's working for him.
Tico also
Old
collects
enough
his
to
coat.
drive, but does she know how to drive? Because that would not be as common.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's fair. Does she know how to drive?
Even or odd.
She had a brother. How crazy was her brother?
Good point.
Would the brother have taught her, or would have Michael taught her?
I'll say odds this time.
10, so that's even. She does not know how to drive.
Okay, so never mind then, because that's something he would know.
Give her like 10.
Maybe
Be
have
like,
Mr.
"Here, go get
Barkley
a
drive her
cab."
home.
Yeah. Dorothy,
Miss Myrtle comes up. She's hearing this exchange. Oh, I can stay with her. We'll be safe here. I'll stay with her, keep an eye on her. If you're uncomfortable leaving her alone.
Yeah.
I am, as she is my responsibility. So if you wouldn't mind keeping an eye on her.
Dorothy kind of goes, I am grown.
You are?
And she
Don't
is.
you remember who
She's
your
20.
brother was? And he pats her on the shoulder and then walks over to the table.
So everybody bundles up, heads out into the cold.
As it goes over to, he'll give a nod to Genevieve's like, "Ma'am,
I thank you for coming.
Vivian."
Michael, ought to meet again at a party.
That we did.
Despite what's going on, Andy Jen sort of arcs an eyebrow. He doesn't say nothing though.
She hitches an arm through Genevieve's arm to walk her.
We are twins, because Michael. Same thing. Each arm.
Antigen is now picked up and carried by her arms.
Yeah, and I ask him,
What is Leo asking?
I asked Teak, do you need help getting through the crowd, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Oh, yeah, in the crowd, you get a decent group of people going, so pushing through the crowd is not a problem. And there's not
We'll
as
see.
big a crowd outside because everybody is getting inside as quick as they can, just from the cold.
We'll say as a point of order, just for RP's sake, Michael kind of radiates heat, so he's kind of warm to be nearby.
Nice little space heater.
Basically me in real
Lovely.
life.
And Jason, that skill roll, that was me just testing. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem. So they take you back, and if you look on the map, you'll see this little white line here
Mhm.
that passes through the neighborhood. It branches out. That's one of the natural creeks. At one point, I knew the name of it, but it doesn't matter right now. And they take you to the shore of it.
Okay.
Or I said it's
By Bronze
not
Mill.
a shore; it's a creek, but.
Double checking. The one in the southeast, not the north.
No, this one here.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, so it's
Putting the circle so
Oh.
that we know where we are.
okay. No, yeah, I saw it further down. Like, oh, that's a trick.
Sorry, no, I didn't
No.
see the original ping.
Okay,
Circle of finding.
not
Yeah.
too far out then.
Yeah. Not down in Brown's Mill. Nobody wants to go down to Brown's Mill. That's literally where all the paper mills and slaughterhouses are.
Mhm.
Ah,
It is not a nice place to be.
Smells fantastic in the summer.
Yes. Let's just say that creek there gets a lot of runoff dumped in it
Ugh.
from those various businesses. But the kids lead you on. Sure enough, you see a body laying there. It doesn't have the hat Mickey was always wearing. But he is bundled up. There is, of all things, an arrow sticking out of his back.
That's peculiar. Without going too in depth about it, Salvador is going to take a very long look at the scene as a whole. And just kind of look around and look for clues and stuff.
Same.
Yeah, Teak would do the same.
Would that be a spot roll?
Yes, I believe it would be.
I'm
Yep.
going to examine the entry.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So
Yeah.
Leo is gonna examine the body.
Yep.
And everybody
Correct.
else is kind of looking around the area.
Yes.
I was
we got
hoping that I
Michael-
succeeded so that I could find his hat and put it on his head, but I
Oh.
failed. So
I'll say, Michael will stay with Genevieve.
Okay.
A
So she
sword.
walks right up to the body. She does not seem to be
Oh, okay.
the squeamish sort.
I was saying just wherever she happens to be, he'll stay with her. And
Oh, yeah.
I have a gremlin. Hold on.
Oh, no problem. All right. So we will start with Leo. So you're examining the body.
Yes.
Uh,
First off, medicine roll. Basically, one of the things I'm kind of looking for, if this was very much aimed at the heart, or where it was. So it wasn't just a lucky shot. Someone specifically aimed this.
all right.
And
Well, you
not
failed.
with that
Oh,
roll.
that's Carr. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong person. Oh, yeah, but you failed the roll. It did not hit the heart.
Okay.
Where it went in, you have no idea where they were aiming. Probably just shooting center mass. Probably punctured the lung.
And
The gremlin has retreated. So what's happening?
I was examining the body. Rolled ass. Exactly 22 above what I needed.
It's kind of dark. It's kind of hard to.
And
I have dark vision.
so do I.
Doesn't matter.
I think the only human here actually is the only one that doesn't have dark vision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As is the norm for most D&D
But dark
settings.
vision doesn't give you color, so there's still some
Correct.
difficulty in examining.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, history or occult, I don't. They're both low, so I doubt I'll make it. I'm also looking at the arrow as well.
Okay, well, so you did the medical examination. Let's move on down.
Yeah.
All right, so Deca got Salvador got a success.
Yep.
Teak
Kinda
did
think-
not.
Okay, can I go ahead and roll that spot check too, just because?
Yeah, sure.
Teak is rolling poorly.
Yeah, success.
And remember
Somehow.
to on your any of you that got success,
Yes.
remember to check next to that skill.
What I learned from my impromptu BRPG session on Sunday: roll as many skills as you can.
Yep.
First Call of Cthulhu campaign I was in, my buddy Todd, we were fighting a monster. You know, one of the low level things that you could actually fight.
Mm-hmm.
He literally, I think we'd been shooting or something. He literally walks up to, basically kick it because he wanted to check his martial arts. He failed. It broke his leg. He passed out.
Nice.
I hit it in the face with a Molotov cocktail, and that's why he survived.
Yeah. That campaign is kind of how me and Jason first met.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, because your buddy joined up, and then he got you in.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
And yep, our step one, going anywhere. We get some empty bottles, and we get
Fill
some
it with
gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
Because most stuff in Cthulhu is at least a little bit vulnerable to fire. Man, it was a long time ago. Both me and Patrick had all our hair then.
Yep.
All right.
I succeeded, and Vivian succeeded.
I also succeeded
Yes,
somehow.
yes. It depends on what you were looking for. But
Yeah, it's fair.
so Salvador, you spot tracks.
Yep.
Like he's at the bank of the creek, so he was leaving footprints. And you're not an expert tracker unless you are. Feel free to let me know if you are, because I haven't memorized y'all's skills lists or anything. But
Sure.
but you can tell it was kind of a staggering walk.
Like alcohol or like skulking?
Well, like he had an arrow in his back and was staggering along.
Oh, these are his.
Yeah, you can match them up with
this
the
guy's-
shoes he's wearing.
Gotcha.
You don't see any other tracks that seem to be fresh enough to matter.
Okay. So he's just standing. So I get the sense he was standing somewhere, get shot in the back.
You get the impression that he, you could start following the trails back to see how far, but apparently he took that arrow and then walked a ways before he actually dropped completely.
Yeah, he's gonna follow it as far as he can go, as far as like, until the tracks get like coldish.
Okay.
That's also a skill roll. It's called track.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You probably want to give that a roll. And while you're doing that, you spot the tracks and you start trying to follow them.
Failure.
It's at some point he wanders a little bit further away from the actual shore and he gets to more solid ground and then you lose it.
Okay.
All right, Vivian. You notice not far from where he fell, a revolver. Like looks like could have been in his hand when he dropped and when he fell and he dropped it.
She won't pick it up, but she will draw attention to it. It looks like he was at least armed when he fell, but I don't know if he shot it or anything.
He typically was.
Haggis, yeah, that's his first name. Haggis steps forward.
You named Ev after John's dog, didn't you?
Yes, he is in honor of John's late dog.
Yeah.
So yes, Mr. Barkley steps forward. He picks the gun up. He's wearing gloves. It's cold. He picks up and immediately checks. He immediately ejects all the
shells
out. Whatever he was fighting, he emptied his gun into it.
Is this area populated? Is it like a residential area or business?
Along this creek kind of flows on the south side of the creek, which is where y'all are at. It's more residential and small businesses, mom and pop kind of stuff. Businesses closer to the main roads and then residential kind of away from them. And like I said, the other side of the creek, this little area, which is still considered Windburn, but it's a little more upscale. It's a little more money. Your parents, for example, live kind of up in this little point area of it, just right across from where Middletown starts.
Yep.
That'd be a good question. Where's Michael's house at?
Since you are somewhat familiar with the peoples down here, probably this area of Middletown. Though it could also be over here.
I mean, I'll say his wealth is affluent, so I'm not sure.
Okay. I was thinking more middle of the road.
Yeah.
Just on the other side of hoity-toity.
So Lakeshore tends to be the real high-end people.
Mm-hmm. Probably the wealthy crowd.
Yeah, that's a pretty wealthy bunch up there.
Mm.
Where anything on the shore, down on this end of town, tends to be docks and
yeah,
industrial
work, industrial kind of stuff.
Hmm.
The further you get up here, the less industrial they've got going on.
Okay.
Kind of glance over at Auntie Jen and be like, we could go knock on doors and see if anyone heard anything, but it is a bit late. If they're not out partying, they're probably asleep.
Yes. Poor Mickey.
He was a good one.
He was. He'd be embarrassed to hear somebody say that, but...
Oh, he'd bat us about the ears.
Let's see, who else rolled?
I mean, I got a success, but...
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Okay, Patrick. All right, Patrick examining the arrow.
Yeah.
When you try to pull the arrow out, it's stuck in there pretty good. And then when it comes out, you heard something kind of snap, and you realize that you've broken the arrowhead off in there. Or when you look at it, you realize what was securing the arrowhead,
It snapped.
The little kids with you are like, "Do you think the Indians did it?"
And I literally just kind of look at the children and say, no.
But it's an arrow. And the reservation's just across the state line.
Trust me, they would use guns. Whoever... that's why I actually wanted to look at cult history, just to see what kind of... Well, on that line, what kind of make is this arrow? Or what
It looks
would I
pretty
actually...
crude to you. You're not an expert necessarily on
Yeah.
older weapons, but it looks crude.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's anything I could roll to figure that out myself.
Actually, yes, there is. What's that? Appraise.
I got a pretty good appraise. I'll give it a shot.
I'm going to appraise just so I can roll.
Hey!
Hey,
All
car!
right, let's see here.
Third time's a charm.
Nope, still didn't succeed.
I'm going to roll with espionage knowledge, see if this rings any bells in that.
Oh!
Yep, I know nothing.
You actually did know something, but with that roll, it's
You forgot.
gone.
Wow.
Your memory is somehow you forgot it, and that surprises you more.
All right, so somebody was rolling espionage, I believe.
Yeah, just to see if it might have had any ties, but I failed.
Okay. All right, and then what would Michael have noticed?
I was gonna see if I could listen to see if there was anybody that was like trying to be sneaky too, but I don't know if that would actually work in this condition.
Oh, the thing you noticed,
Michael.
Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, give me a little while. I'll eventually remember y'all's names.
That's all good.
Uh, Auntie Jen walked him. She knelt down next to him.
Mhm.
So you got down a little close too, and there is an odor.
Okay.
Uh,
To which Teak then goes, "Not me."
not it. Like it makes you think of. It's like you get just a faint whiff of like something chemically. It's a chemical smell,
Chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
as well as like a whiff of like rotting meat.
We are. What was that section of town you said we were near? It was
Brown's Mill.
Brown smells a good distance away.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, he just kind of goes, that's a interesting smell.
We're sniffing corpses now.
It's kind of hard not to with the, corpse being right in front of us and having to bend down to examine it.
When you mention that, Auntie Jen kind of leans over, takes a deep breath.
Against her better judgment, Viv will too.
And Mr. Barkley does as well. He looks a little self-conscious about it. It's like everybody expects him to have better sense of smell.
He takes a whiff and he goes, "Oh,
Please don't judge me too harshly, but I need to roll around in this."
We are judging you so harshly.
And everybody agrees pretty much with Michael's assessment.
It's like a mix of chemicals and rotting meat.
So brown smell. The paper chemicals, maybe?
Barkley nods his head like, it makes sense. It makes sense. That's definitely where you get both of those scents together.
I'll go see if... Has anyone fetched someone to come collect his body? That seems like something we should be doing.
Yes, we should probably get the...
Coroner.
I hate to get the human police involved. But no offenses, Michael.
Some taken.
But yes, we can't. Clearly, we can't leave him out here. We certainly don't want to hide a body.
He kind of gently pats Auntie Jen on the shoulder. I'll go collect somebody.
Yes, we should probably all head back. We've all been trampling around this area. I'm sure the police would like it as pristine as possible.
Should someone stay here just to make sure his body's not messed with or anything?
A couple of the miscellaneous people that came with you volunteered to stay behind. Auntie Jen is shivering rather fiercely at this point.
Let's go back and get you some of that punch.
Takes off his longer coat and wraps it around her.
Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you.
Nah, it's fine. I run pretty hot anyway.
I think Salvador unknowingly is left behind as he's coming back up the path.
Where'd
You-
they go?
You see two of the random guys that came with you.
Are you
Oh.
coming?
Kind of guarded. Oh, they went. You know, they're heading back. We're just staying with the body until the police get here.
Okay. Well, anything changes about them, please let us know. Neil.
As
Shrug
they're as they're walking, Michael points out his hat was missing.
I tried to find it.
He was very proud of that hat.
Well, it's more of he always wore it. Every time I've seen him, he's always had it on.
It hit his bald spot. I think he was self-conscious about it.
Jan kind of laughs when you say that. No, it was Doran's hat. His mentor essentially.
Ah,
Odd that it's missing.
Maybe
not
it got
something he
blown
would've-
off when he got hit.
It could have been deer. It's not something he'd have willingly left behind, but injured like he was, trying to get help, he wouldn't have been suicidal about it.
Salvador will catch up with the rest of the group and just kind of look around and say, he walked quite a distance to get to where he laid.
Find anything interesting?
Unfortunately not. That kind of turns into murky water, so
Hmm.
that in itself is interesting, but I couldn't find anything after that.
So you get back to the little community center. Jen walks in, immediately asks for if there's any hot tea.
I'll
And
get you some. Sit down.
Yeah. As soon as he says that, Myrtle is up in the air and off to the caterers, basically, asking what they've got that's warm. It turns out coffee's the best they can do.
there it is.
And there is a larger group of people in here now than there was before. Word has spread. People have come in to see what's going on.
Is it midnight yet?
Has midnight come and gone?
Midnight has come and gone.
Gone.
It is now
One.
January 1st, 1925.
Salvador looks at his pocket watch and goes, "Oh, Happy New Year, folks."
That's a wonderful way to start that.
Yeah.
Bad
Michael's
things are
been
headed
waiting.
our way. All my readings have been telling it.
Oh, I
Okay,
found
and
it
I-
every time I heard that.
And she says this aloud to the group.
Yes. Well, she doesn't say it like she's announcing it to the room, but she says that, or most of the room probably heard her.
And I just kind of ask, well, what have you seen?
That's what the runes have been telling me. Nothing specific. Just
The runes?
General woe.
yeah.
And
All of the strange folk in the room, if she says runes, they react like that's big deal. Not like,
Crossed himself.
but like, oh.
yeah,
If
She
I
reaches down?
may-
I'm gonna. Do you mind if I roll a cult
Yeah, go ahead.
to get more?
Yeah,
And then
roll as
Eric,
well.
what were you saying?
Well, Michael was
I
going to
haven't made a roll yet.
if I could see the rune that she was speaking of.
Oh yeah, she draws it.
Hmm.
She
When-
reaches down. She unties this old school leather sack from her belt.
Mhm.
Sets it down, and you can hear it sounds like stones inside or ceramic
Mhm.
tiles or something. You can hear that kind of noise, and it
Bones.
sits down with a solid sound. And she starts like untying it.
What is? I realize I'm asking this as we're in session 1, but what is the difference between sense? Is sense more like metaphysical versus Spot being like physical?
I believe sense is just any other sense besides hearing and sight. It's for people who like
Yeah.
smell and things
Oh.
like that. if I
That's
remember
probably
correctly.
something that I should have called on. You know which
Yeah.
one you needed to roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when she pulls out the rune, I also made an occult roll to look at them. I did get a success.
Okay, you have heard of the runes then.
Mhm.
Like, you know, your study of the occult, you probably didn't get too deep into them, but you know, like the old Norse Vikings had runes from way back,
Mhm.
and that was the closest they had to a written language. And you
Okay.
know the strange folk brought their own style of runes.
Mhm.
You know that it is it is kind of its own style of magic.
Mhm.
Uh, that there's not a lot of practitioners that really know it very well.
Yeah. So he kind of like he has one between like his thumb and index finger. Looks at it and is like, "Is this a modification of the old Norse runic language, or that kind of magic you all brought over when you came to our
This
world?"
came with us from the Forgotten World.
Ah, okay.
We've tried to
More
keep knowledge,
clarification.
but the runes were hard to master, even for the people uh, back before the migration. At least from the history I know. And she takes the rune back, drops it back in the sack.
Mhm.
Everyone, I need you to gather around. And she's announcing this to the room.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've all heard Mickey's body was found. He's the last of the Bjorn. Or was the last of the Bjorn. They drew the runes 10 years ago. The runes need to be drawn again. And she picks up the sack and literally starts shaking the, like shaking up the leather bag.
Here, of all places, it's a community center.
Here is the place.
A community.
Yeah, we're selecting
Yeah,
protectors for the community.
Huh. Okay.
She leans over and is like, I admit it's a bit of an odd place to do it, but we don't argue with Auntie Jen.
I don't know who anyone here is.
Pats him on the shoulder. You'll learn,
Yeah.
darling.
And while you have a
Teak,
passing
you know
knowledge,
me.
Oh, and for those who are questioning, yes, sense is in fact handle anything besides the other sense.
Yep.
Well, listen is its own thing, and spot is its own thing. So you have
Yeah.
a sight and
Yeah.
hearing. So
Okay.
all right. So people start gathering up.
Mhm.
She tells you basically for the she reaches into the bag. She poured. I talked about her shaking them up, but she'd have poured them out first. And you see, almost all the stones are white, with the carving, and the carving's like blacked in.
Mhm.
But then there is a selection of stones that are the same size, but they're a black stone, and the carved out area is whited. And basically, everyone here will draw. Those that draw the black stones, that's how the runes select you. And she will examine the runes that are selected to see what message they give. If the gods are kind, it will give some kind of warning as to what is coming, to what the chosen will, the chosen few will need to be defending us from. And then she scoops them all back into the bag. Shake, shake, shake.
And out of nowhere, and my axe and a dwarf walks out of nowhere.
Next month, yes.
Oh, I just noticed Otter was in the chat. Oops.
Hi, Otter.
Hi, Otter.
I shouldn't say I just noticed it. I noticed it a while back and meant to say something, and then I got distracted.
I will
All right,
say
so she
something
shakes up.
real quick. When she did pour out all of the runes, Michael did make a point to look at each one of them.
Okay.
So for later, using his eidetic memory, he can write down what each and every one of them are, or at least their symbol.
Yeah, the only the symbol is on there. The little card handouts that I'm going to be flashing down has what it stands for too, but that's not on the stone. Auntie Jen will be telling you what they are as you draw them. She asks for volunteers, and Dorothy's like the first. Oh, and she reaches in there and she roots around.
Darling, you're just supposed to pull one out, not go treasure hunting.
Dorothy just
Oh, sorry. She comes out. She sees a white stone. She's like, oh.
weight off my shoulders.
Please drop it back in, dear. Drop it back in.
Well,
And
since-
you have a handful of other people that start volunteering, and it's a white stone. It's a white stone. It's a white stone.
So
Salvador goes in.
Well, since Dorothy did it, Micah will reach in, pause for a second, and then pull out a stone, like the very first one his fingers touched.
All right.
Tracks.
So yeah, you pull that out. You see the little stick figure, and she identifies that as a man.
and you do count as one.
Yeah, he is a man.
Mhm.
But yes, that is the rune that represents humanity. Who keeps moving it around?
Sorry. I didn't realize that you guys could see it. I thought it was like a handout.
No, I did these up as cards because you can do like playing
okay.
cards, and everybody can affect the
Okay.
cards because in some games you have to put cards down, have other people pick them up.
Sorry.
So put it back to where it was.
No,
is what he's telling you.
I put it where.
Okay.
Sorry.
Put the thing back where it came from.
Not a
so
big
help
deal.
me.
So help me.
Because you're right.
So
If it's
help
like a
me.
regular handout, you wouldn't
Yeah,
affect
yeah.
anybody else.
I thought it was a handout. I didn't realize it was a card.
All right. I will reach into the bag.
You reach into the bag, and you pull out this little, almost looks like a dome or a half circle. She tells you it represents
Stasis.
Stasis or a unchanging power.
Unchanging power.
And you have a few other miscellaneous people draw.
Vivian will cue in to draw.
Okay.
Salvador's right behind Vivian.
Teak, get in on this.
Last. Teak is last. He's going to be the last person to draw from bag.
Everyone keeps like butting ahead of him.
More like he wants to be the last one to draw.
Teak's like, maybe they'll forget.
Maybe I'm small enough and they'll not remember me.
All right, so Vivian draws.
Spirit.
Yeah, she identified. Yeah, Auntie Jen identifies.
Spirit.
It's a bit wide open. It could be liquid or ghosts.
If she tells you yes, it's not alcohol.
She was only half teasing on that and just kind of grins at her.
Where man represents humanity, but also represents kind of mortality. Spirit represents, of course, the spiritual aspect of reality. Both of the departed, the living that have departed, but also the spirit of things.
Salvador's right behind Vivian.
Salvador. What about this?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Eyebrow.
She
all the
doesn't.
way up.
She doesn't look happy to see the chaos rune come up. She does not look surprised.
What's this?
This represents chaos, entropy, the forces that destroyed the Forgotten World, that drove us here, that our ancestors failed to defeat in their own world.
There may or may not be 4 of them.
No.
That's right.
RuneQuest predates Warhammer
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Michael Moorcock's novels predate RuneQuest, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why this sounded familiar. You're literally pulling the runes from RuneQuest.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, because I had one where I ended up channeling the rune of death, so it's.
And after everyone in the community center is gone, Teak goes.
All right. So, is there anybody else? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So of the folks we have here presently, only Carr hasn't pulled one.
Right.
So yeah, more people in the community. It goes around. It goes around. It goes around.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people. And anytime you pull one, that one not the black ones, but anybody that pulls a white one, the white one goes back in.
This feels like an exercise in probability and not necessarily an exercise in pulling things out of things is a horrible way to determine monarchy and
Yeah.
protectors.
Teak gets up to the bag and his ears go back and he reaches in.
As you step into the bag, Mr. Barkley quickly steps forward. Shouldn't put this off any longer.
Vivian kind of shoots Mr. Barkley a look like, really?
It's almost like Barkley was waiting for Teak to step forward to then take his turn. You can't be sure of it, but he was waiting there awful patiently up till then. But when he opens,
Teak just looks at him.
But when he ignores you, but when he opens his hand, it's a white stone. Ah, booger.
Teak reaches in. He's like doing the thing where like his eyes are closed and he's looking back and he flips his hand over and opens his hand and looks at it with one eye open. Also, he uses his left hand because he's left-handed.
So Teak is not looking at it when he opens his hand.
Yeah, he's not looking at it, and then when he opens it, he kind of like does the like one eye open kind of glance.
It's
And
a
as you're opening your eye and turn around, you hear Barkley. Boulder Dash.
Wow, that's
son
a
of
swear.
my mom.
Dragon Newt.
I love it.
And Teak goes, this is both on brand and slightly offensive.
He just kind of looks at it, and then he looks at Auntie Jen.
That is the Dragon Newt rune. It represented one of the oldest species in the Forgotten World. One believed to be extinct now in this world. Anybody that's got a cult, give me an occult roll. or history for that matter. It kind of it's
Hey,
kind
I
of
have history.
this is kind of a
I've got-
crossover
I'll say
subject.
I'll
I've
roll
got
history.
both.
Yeah, just roll
Aw.
whichever one's
Okay.
higher.
Well, I have a successful roll.
Well,
Nicole.
they're
I
the
want to see if I can
same
get one
number,
for history
so
too.
go.
Sadness, Teak failed.
Yes, success on occult.
All right, give it a check. Everybody that succeeded, be sure to give it a check.
Yep.
I did not, unfortunately.
All right. All right. So who did? Was it just Leo?
Yep.
All right. So dragon newts, humanoid reptilian race. Well, not. With them, humanoid would probably be stretching it. Oh, and I don't have a generic picture of a newt to show you yet. And I'll post it in the Discord later. Dragon-like creatures. Don't picture dragonborn. They're too human. You could almost picture these as being dinosaur people. Would almost be the right physical appearance. At least of their earlier stages. According to everything that you can gather, they are more or less immortal. I mean, can be killed, clearly. Because let's Europeans were very good at that. I believe St. George is believed to have killed the last of them, in Europe at least.
Mhm.
The conquistadors discovered some living in Central and South America, though. And much like you used to get rumors of dinosaurs in, the Amazon or the Congo, you get that about dragon newts in the Amazon. But essentially, as long as the shells of the eggs they hatched out of were not destroyed, they would, at death, basically reincarnate. That the shell would regenerate into an egg, and they would reincarnate. Slowly moving up, there were a few different. They're not subspecies exactly. They were magical enough that their biology is weird. Eventually, they'd get a winged version. There were 3 or 4 steps in power, and supposedly they would eventually reincarnate as actual dragons. Those are also believed to be extinct now. Again, thank you, St. George.
Sufficient.
But she's not entirely certain what that could possibly mean. She's got the ones y'all drawn laid out, and she's rearranging them. And she starts off with them in the order y'all drew them, and then she kind of rearranges, like she's trying to figure out what the meaning could be. But she keeps going around until, well, actually, I take that back because Teak waited till basically last. The only people in the room that haven't drawn are like the newsboys. Because, this is not a job you're giving children.
No.
Like, even when she's looking around going, well, there's got to be more people. There's supposed to be,
It's like 2 people who haven't shown up yet.
Almost like that's how that's going to work out. Go figure. But she starts quizzing people. Who left? Who? After the news came to us, who left? And everybody's going, because half the people that are in here now weren't in here when y'all left.
Yeah.
It's the 2 miscellaneous NPCs that we left at the creek.
Who will be players next time?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That would be a good way to bring them in too.
Done. Canon.
You're welcome.
But yeah, she'll. I mean, undoubtedly, if the police are there by now, they'll be busy for a little while. But yeah, she'll have to have them draw, and if they don't draw, the needed stones. She'll have to just start expanding out into the neighborhood, into the community.
How are you determining needed stones?
She starts to explain how this works. The ritual of it, how many
Since
these
I got
groups
these
start at.
tests, do I get more into this, or that
what
was
now?
just for the dinosaur people? Got it.
Yeah, you were just getting the what a dragon newt was.
Mm.
So she starts to explain to you, Salvador, the ins and outs of why they do things a certain way, and you're concerned about the random chance thing. Is like no, it's the runes are choosing. It's magic. Before she can get too deep into it, though, several police officers come in.
Oh,
Hmm.
here we go.
As soon as they step inside, bag open.
The dwarves are hiding the ale.
All the stones are swept into the bag in a very smooth, Vegas casino card dealer dealing with the cards kind of way. And the bag is out of sight. You don't want to make the human authorities too nervous. They can still be a little twitchy about magic.
So it ended up being human police.
Uh,
And all of a sudden, like you see, like multiple dwarves. All of a sudden, like the walls rotate.
they grab that little baseball trophy, pull it like a switch. No, no. When they found out there was a body, they were already packing stuff away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a few people in the room that are still drinking their booze, but that's not illegal. Buying it or selling it is illegal. Buying it was not.
Yeah.
If the police notice, they may confiscate, the cup in their hand. That's the most they could do. That's how Speakeasy stayed in business. The customers didn't have to worry about getting busted. It was possibly an intentional loophole.
Great officers.
It could be worse. Sure.
It could be. It could be worse. They want to know who, the call, a call was made. They've got officers retrieving the body now. They're talking to the people that you left. Some of the officers are addressing people in the building. Some of them are like doing a kind of a perimeter sweep. You do see them confiscating a few drinks from people.
Mm-hmm.
Asking them where they got it. Oh, I don't remember. Somewhere down the street. I forget. It was a street vendor. Out in the sub-zero temperatures. Yeah, sure. You see one or two, like, as they're just walking around examining, a little bit of food off the table. And you spend several hours being questioned about, what you found.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, did you keep the arrow?
Actually, yes.
Speaking of, with my successful appraise, did I learn anything about the arrow outside of it just being crude?
No, not really.
Like I figured out it was crude too.
Yeah. Like there was no symbols or anything, which is very crudely, it was more or less straight, but
It was definitely not a craftsman's work.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a talented craftsman. Like tree, the fletching was held on by tree sap. It was like little strands of leather. That's what broke that left the actual arrowhead. In the body.
I purposely kept it, and I am trying to keep that. I mean, for anyone who didn't know, it looked like a stick.
Yeah. And you could slide it up. You're all wearing a long coat, so you could slide it up a sleeve or whatever.
Yeah. The reason why is I'd like to have. Oh no! I just literally blanked on her name. The auntie actually inspect it because just in case, because that's one of the reason why he also wanted to check a cult. Just not sure about it. He left to the army before any kind of his real kind of training. It's like he suspects, but he wants to be sure.
Yeah, it's understandable. But so, all right. So Patrick is trying to not let on that he kept something.
Oh, that's the.
And if they talked to the guys back at the scene, they would have been like, "Yeah, he was shot with an arrow. This guy took it."
Fine manipulation is kind of like the lock picking sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Disable devices,
Kind of
that sort
thing.
of thing. Yes.
Yeah. So if you wanted to use that for a roll, that would be what I suggest. I think I could be wrong.
Fine, maybe. Yeah, for just when the police quickly concealing it while the police walk in, a fine manipulation roll would be fine.
By manipulation, sleight of hand are the same numbers because I don't have any skill in that.
Oh yeah, sleight of hand. Sleight of hand would
Can
probably be the one to
Tika-
use for this.
Can Teak see if he's trying to do that and assist?
Let's see. Give me an insight roll, Teak.
Is there? Where is that?
If it's alphabetical, it'd be under the eyes.
there it
Insight
is.
is the last one on the first column.
Nope, not at all.
Oh.
Okay. So you're just like, jeepers, the cops.
No.
Wait, I haven't done anything wrong. But still, the cops.
Guilt. Guilt is a thing.
There's also my luck roll to see how that's going to help out. So.
Oh, we could do a luck roll. You know what? Give me a luck roll. Because there's a lot of people in this room. Maybe somebody was obscuring you enough that you didn't have to be subtle to shove it up your sleeve.
I'm clicking the button and nothing's happening. So
I don't see luck.
It's up next to power.
it's the
Yeah, it's next to
characteristics roll.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
All right, so I'm going to try clicking it.
I'm gonna
Okay,
try
a thing comes up, multiplier. You need to hit normal and then submit.
Mhm.
Hey,
characteristic.
it's Jason.
Okay. That's not helping either. Multiplier.
Just normal.
Normal.
Basically, I can increase the difficulty by decreasing the multiplier.
Okay, because I'm still clicking and nothing's happening.
Normal. So you click submit. After click, you set it on normal, then you click submit.
Oh, okay. So is this actually in this dice roller or on the actual character sheet? I'm sorry.
The luck
On the
roll
character
is on the
sheet.
character sheet. The little window will pop up in your roll 20.
Okay. This may just be not being that familiar with roll 20 then.
And it's a new character sheet for us to be dealing with.
It's in the little box that says characteristic and roles.
No, yeah, that's what I'm at. But the actual like dice button and everything, like, if you clicks on that, I'm clicking agility. Nothing's happening.
Move your
It's
character.
not
Is
agility.
your character sheet? Is your character sheet still in roll 20?
Yes.
Okay, move it because it might be behind your box. It's another window pops up. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I pulled up my character sheet. I got bio info, attributes and abilities, and character sheet.
It's in character sheet.
I'm
And
in
then-
characteristics and roles.
That's
Alright.
it.
And under agility, luck, idea, or stamina, none
It's
of those
luck.
buttons work for me.
Huh.
Then it might be your browser blocking it.
Let me
Okay.
try. Let me try rolling it off your sheet and see what it does.
Okay.
Alternatively, it's 5 times whatever that characteristic is.
Okay, so I rolled it. You needed a 70 or less. I rolled it at 87 for you. You're welcome.
Okay. Now macro options pop up.
There you go.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and roll for yourself then.
Normal.
Yes, just normal.
That's weird.
Still
Yes,
doesn't
roll.
like me.
You failed, but
Most
you rolled better than I
businesses-
did, so. So you needed a 70, but you needed a 70 or lower, but you got an 84.
Cancel.
So one of the cops spots you.
Okay, give me a second, because apparently, in the process of this, a lot of those macro windows.
Probably
Popped
every time
up.
you were clicking it.
Yeah,
Trying to get it to
hang
work.
on.
Mm.
And it's me going through canceling all of these. There we go.
But
Yay, new character sheets. Woo!
we'll get it figured out.
The new season will end.
But so yeah, so they spot you.
All
Oh.
right.
There's the one that took the arrow. We'll
I hear
need
that.
we'll need that for evidence.
I'm sorry, and it's wrapped too. So
Uh,
I was attempting to examine the body. While examining the body, the arrowhead did break off when removing this.
okay, so that will still be in the body.
Yes.
Very good. We'll get the actual trained docs to give it a look. You hear him mumbling to his buddies as he steps away with it. I think the orc thought he was a doctor.
I'm just
But to ask if I could listen if you were trying to be sneaky with that.
No, cop didn't care who was overheard.
I will.
That was me rolling medicine again, but I have not rolled well this evening. Really
Well,
enough,
kinda-
one of my lower rolls was the one that I succeeded.
that I did utilize a PowerPoint to activate eidetic memory.
Okay. Did you make a roll for
So I did, yeah. I succeeded.
that? Okay, I see the power roll. Yeah.
So when the cop asks Michael about what happened, he literally gets every single second of what happened between when the kids showed up to when they got back to the community center.
He's like furiously writing.
It's a Uriah report all over again.
I mean, he's a lawyer and cops are asking what happened with a murder. Yeah.
Do you
He's
tell them about the rune stuff that went on when you got back?
He said when they got back to the community center.
Okay, he stops when they get back.
Because after that point,
None of his business.
well, the murder isn't involved.
Teek's fidgeting with like a gear from a car. Seems like it's very well worn.
And each of you get questions, so does anyone else have anything they're going to try to conceal from the police?
I don't have anything I'm going to conceal per se. But I think Salvador will kind of lead the conversation versus the officer, because he's that like military cadence is coming back to him, so he's like sounding more sure of himself and confident, and this is what happened, this is all that happened, this is all you need to know.
Okay, that doesn't really sound like fast talk to me.
It's command. I think it's command.
Oh yeah, command is a skill. Give me a
It
command
sure
roll.
is.
Yep.
He will give an insight roll.
Success.
He will give an insight roll to see if if he realizes basically what you're doing.
It's the who, what, where, when, and why, as far as he needs to know.
Okay, he rolled a 94. So yeah, he does. It's like he doesn't know. Like he got hit by a truck. He doesn't know what just hit him. But you're giving him the information he was supposed to, be required. So
I'm giving him exactly what the humans need to know.
Vivian's gonna try and ask questions back, just like in this wide-eyed, innocently trying to get information. Like
Okay.
anything they may have known that happened in the area, just that kind of thing.
Let's see. Etiquette would work. Fast talk would work. On the other hand, you're specifically trying to appear a certain way.
Persuade?
So, persuade would work. I was gonna let you do a characteristic roll too, with your charisma. Well, it'd be based off the appearance stat, which I think they changed to charisma in this version, but old sheet anyway.
It has charisma.
Yeah,
beside
the,
it, yeah.
the roll is a charisma roll. So.
The roll is charisma. The stat is appearance.
Just for I asked this for leveling up purposes. Can charisma level up?
You can raise stats, but not the same way you raise skills.
We'll go with the
you can
skills
train
now.
in a stat during downtime.
Okay. Boo.
Oof.
Too good.
Too used to rolling high.
Meanwhile, the
Yeah, he's
roller
not buying it.
used to be rolling like shit.
Yeah, he's very much just the facts man.
Very exaggerated pout and continues to talk,
Uh,
but does rein it in.
All right, has everybody made a roll versus the police?
Yep.
I believe so. So yeah, they grill you for quite a while, but they don't actually take anybody down to the station. Because despite the terrible way children tell stories, all the kids' stories pretty well match up.
Yeah.
You know, they had all basically slipped out. They'd all basically snuck out to come here, and they were following the creek, to get from the neighborhood they lived in to here, and they came across the body. And payphones are a thing in the 20s, but they're not real common. And these are kids that probably didn't have a nickel.
Payphone money.
Yeah. Yeah. So they went looking for the closest authority figure. So it's a good 2:00 in the morning by the time y'all are cut loose.
Yep.
Auntie Jen does not get a chance to talk to the other two people. So morning will have to be soon enough. Michael, Dorothy is falling asleep on the drive back, on the ride for the ride back.
Yeah.
She's young, but she's not used to staying up this late.
Mm.
She's very social, but she's not like the late night partying type.
Yeah.
Because most of those kind of places wouldn't let her in until fairly recently.
Yeah, he just takes her to his house and just lets her crash in one of the guest rooms.
How risque.
Well, her and her brother were over at his house plenty enough, so.
Yeah, but that's when she had the brother as a chaperone. People will talk.
It's also 2 a.m.
Your housekeeper will be. That doesn't make it better. Your housekeeper will be.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
Will be absolutely stunned and horrified. Which, this situation is actually why Murphy's bed exists.
The housekeeper's gonna go talk to the other housekeepers and be like, "Did you see who came in?"
But
Teak is going to ask if anyone needs to be dropped off.
Has anyone we should probably get the kids home safely.
Mm-hmm.
Then I turn to Teak. Since you're offering, how large is your vehicle?
I can hold 4 people, I think. Maybe drink
Five,
comfortably.
if they're friendly, or if they're all smaller.
Yeah.
You know, you can squeeze a few. You can squeeze an extra halfling or two in there, or some extra kids.
Let's get the
Put him in the
children
boot.
home. Let's get the children home, Teak.
Okay.
The kids are kind of, we can just walk home.
No, no.
Your parents don't know
It's-
you're out, do they?
There's a pause, and then they go, sure they do.
I'm sure Auntie Jen will ask them about you as well, since they know you're out.
They kind of glance at Auntie Jen, who is very pointedly not involving in this conversation. She's finishing her coffee.
It's always better to ask forgiveness afterwards. Especially if you didn't ask permission first.
All right.
Plus, the news is going to get back about Mickey. They probably don't want any unexpected visits from police.
Yeah, they don't seem happy about it though. They cheer up a little bit when they get to ride in the car though. And you get out there, and Teek's got an old Model T.
Model
Just-
T.
he grabs it in full body.
Now,
And-
completely up to you how Teek's car works. Model Ts did get electric starters added to them pretty quickly.
Did
Yeah.
they? Okay. Yeah, he's got the old school Model
Okay,
T just because it's
that's
funnier.
fine. And while there are
Throwing
plenty
his
of
whole
Model
body.
Ts still on the road in 25, they are looked at as being obsolete.
Yeah.
But plenty of people still
Salvo
had them.
will get in the vehicle with Teak and the children just to.
They were
I'll-
just still
I'll
cheap
make
cars.
sure I'll help make sure they get home safe.
Yeah. So yes, you drop them off. There's several upset parents. Only one set of parents had realized their child was gone, and the mother was very
That's
glad. You
right.
know, the mother is annoyed at the kid, thankful to all of you. Her husband is out canvassing the neighborhood looking for him. So if you see a man in a red stocking cap and a black coat, you tell him Johnny's home basically.
The greatest generation.
This lady would be pre-Greatest Generation.
Yeah.
No, greatest generation is 07 to 27-ish.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this lady would have been born earlier
That's fair.
because she's
That's
got
fair.
The kid would be Greatest Generation.
Fair.
Man, how does that generation thing even work with elves?
I have no idea.
They just have their own.
Yeah.
The humans don't care if it works for everybody else.
No.
All right, so the rest of you managed to get home to get some sleep. Auntie Jen,
If you don't make sure someone gets Auntie Jen home.
and Auntie Jen will request that you come by her home tomorrow for lunch.
That
As
everybody?
everybody who drew the black
Everybody
one.
that drew the stones.
And,
She's going to have the other two come by and draw in.
Would she have mentioned that before Michael left or after?
She'd have
'Cause,
mentioned she'd have mentioned it before everybody left.
Okay. Yeah, but I was like, because Michael, basically as soon as the cops were done with him, he was gone.
Teek's gonna try and remember where Salvador lives.
Salvador is actually going to ask Teak if he can sleep in the backseat.
Sure. I mean,
It's really cold out.
it's really cold
Yeah.
out.
And Model
There's a lot
Ts
of
were
things
not
like here.
completely enclosed.
Yeah.
Fine.
And
I'll guide Teak to my
uh,
house.
Okay.
and for Salvador's like, hell, if it's absolutely, I've got a spare bed.
Fine.
All right, but eventually, you all make your ways home.
Mhm.
Whoever Teek is dropping off, he'll try to remember where their house is.
Okay.
Try and pick them up tomorrow to go to Auntie Jen.
And that's where
Figuring
we're
she
at
gets
because
home.
it's just after 9:30 now.
Woo.
I was about to say real quick, do the housekeepers go like, he's bringing somebody home?
It's 2:00 in the morning. They're not aware of it.
Yeah. It's
Also, how many housekeepers
They-
do you have? I could easily see you having
Hon-
one, like live-in housekeeper.
I honestly hadn't even thought of that. Like
Yeah.
I'd figured that
You know,
that
affluent.
Michael was the one doing it.
Yeah, affluent. You could have more than one. You don't have to have one. It'd be odd for to at least not have somebody come by and do the cleaning for you.
Yeah.
Whether she was actually like all the time there or not.
Mhm.
Up to you.
Yeah. I'll say he probably has one.
She just goes into that bedroom to clean and just sees a woman laying in the bed.
It's Dorothy's mom.
Well, she makes a little commotion about it in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
She knows Dorothy. She knows Dorothy her brother used to stay over all the time. Not a big deal.
Mm.
Once Dorothy, she doesn't make a big deal about it while Dorothy's there. When Dorothy, goes on her way, she does pull Michael to the side.
Yes.
She's sure everything was completely innocent. But Dorothy isn't a child anymore. People will talk. Both about your reputation and hers.
And hers.
I mean, they would at least, at least they would realize you were interested in women. Would put certain rumors to bed. But
It was also 2 a.m. I don't have her keys, and there was a murder where we were at.
oh my goodness, that starts a whole different conversation. And completely wipes away her concerns about anything else at that point.
Yeah.
Then she just goes full gossip. Tell me everything.
Basically, how Michael, just for the funsies, can I make a fast talk roll to basically get her off of that conversation and onto the murder?
Yeah. Give me a fast talk.
Nope.
Fumble.
Yeah.
It's a little too obvious you're trying to change the subject.
She
So
circles back.
So she circles back, and now she's like, well, maybe it wasn't completely innocent. Maybe there is something here. Maybe he's interested in her. She's a little young for him.
Have a good day.
Oh, you too, Mr. Anderson. And you're pretty sure as soon as she's done at your place, she's off to where one of her buddies is working to consult.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we're done for the day. I hope y'all had fun. I enjoyed it. Didn't get as far into the story as I had meant. But I think this was a good breaking in, getting to know the characters, though.
Putting the band together.
And hope the folks at home enjoyed it. Anybody that comes by and watches later, hope you'll join us next week as we continue Abomination Alley. Again, I was your storyteller for the evening, Jason. And with me has been Patrick as Leo, Jeremy as Salvador, Eric as Michael, Sarah as Vivian, and Carr as Teak. And we will see y'all next time.
Good night, everybody.
So
Tune in for our next thrilling adventure.
and heed the sign. Abomination, Alley's light. For in the night the shadows grow and take with them